Hi friends, welcome back to another Coffee and a Movie with Irene. Happy Friday the 13th. I did not foresee that it was Friday the 13th, so I did not pick a movie along that vein because really most days just blend into each other now and time has no meaning. So today I'm going to be talking about a 94 classic, The Pagemaster. Like many kids with terrible childhoods, I loved movies where kids turned to books because their parents were awful. Matilda is a good example. And Pagemaster. Basically in this movie, Macaulay Culkin is a kid who is afraid of everything and his parents don't know what to do, so they send him to the hardware store in the middle of a thunderstorm, and then he goes to a library where then he falls and hits his head and is transported into a magical land of books where he has to face trials until he can come back to the real world. So there's live action, but mostly it's a cartoon. Christopher Lloyd plays a crazy librarian and also the Pagemaster. When Macaulay Culkin goes into this library, it's like a club Stefan from SNL would describe. Yes, if you're looking for the hottest library, look no further than probably the LA library where they filmed this movie. It's got everything. It's got Captain Picard doing a pirate voice and Dr. Spock playing another doctor. It's got magical drips of paint from the ceiling. And also Christopher Lloyd getting too close. Who is that over there? Is that Winnie the Pooh's voice? And also, is that Pete from a Goofy movie, who is also a pirate? The terrific use of Whoopi Goldberg, where half her lines are, There's book snogging, there's sick bike jumps, there's clearly a father who doesn't understand his son. If you want to get in, the password is, we have to get back to the future! So anyway, like I said, Macaulay Culkin is afraid of everything, and he has a very supportive father.
I'm the most supportive father on earth, but I'm running out of supportive things to do. I signed him up for Little League. He drove everybody crazy.
Oh yeah, sounds like you really tried. I mean, if sports can't cure the boy, what will? Also, a kid like this isn't created in a vacuum. A kid who's afraid of death and afraid of getting hurt, that doesn't happen for no reason. The parents are responsible for this, for sure, and they just like gloss over that. I mean, you could say this movie is about reading. It references a lot of classic books. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Treasure Island, Moby Dick. So obviously lots of classical references that are about reading, but I think at its core it's more about storytelling. So Macaulay Culkin hits his head in this library, and then he has to go on this adventure through different genres of books in order to get to the end and go back to the real world. And he has these 3 book companions that are excellent. It's your classic 2 boys, 1 girl situation where there's a stupid, courageous boy.
I love you, no! I'm a classic!
An even stupider but nice boy.
Horror always has sad endings.
And then a woman who solves most of the problems.
You know that short story?
Yeah, he's adventure.
Honey, that's what they all say.
Christopher Lloyd was never finer than in this role.
All I want is
Adventure! Of course! You're a boy who loves adventure!
Also, you may ask, Irene, why do you own this on Blu-ray? And to that I respond, I don't know. I really like the order that Macaulay Culkin faces, because you would think that horror would be the last thing he faces. That's the scariest thing, right? But horror is actually the first thing he faces. First, he faces like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, so classic sort of horror. You would think because he's so scared of everything that horror would be the ultimate thing for him to face, but it's actually the first thing, the least of his trials. Because really what he needs to face is all the stuff he's made up in his mind. I mean, statistics aren't just in your mind, but like the possibilities of bad things happening, like that's just all in your mind. So really, actual bad things are the least of what he needs to face. What he really needs to face are kind of these worries that he's created in his head, these possibilities, and how he beats them. So at the end, spoiler alert, so at the end he faces this big dragon, and that's fantasy. So the dragon really represents all of these enormous, scary, made-up fears that kids often create in their heads, especially anxious kids. Holla at the anxious kids in the back. And how he beats this dragon is he thinks of creative ways, creative problem solving. Using big adventurous solutions, he finds Jack and the Beanstalk and creates this giant tree in order to get out of this dragon's stomach. And then at the end, Macaulay Culkin is really angry at the Pagemaster because he's like, you had control over all of this. Why didn't you just send me to the exit at the very beginning? And the Pagemaster is like, well, you couldn't have faced the dragon if I had sent you right to the dragon. You needed to face all of these trials first, and then you were strong enough to face the dragon. And so if you're like me, you just sobbed uncontrollably. I needed to suffer in order to become the person I am today. You know, I never used to cry at movies. I was such a hard child. And now it's just anything will make me cry at a movie. So that's why I only watch movies in the cover of darkness with some coffee in my hand. You gotta face the Mad Doctor and the crazy pirates in order to be able to defeat the dragon, you know what I mean? Anyway, Pagemaster is a great movie. You should definitely watch it. It's got some great voice actors, a lot of people you would recognize for sure. And of course, just Christopher Lloyd existing. So yeah, watch it, drink some coffee, stay away from creepy people in, well, not in masks, because everyone's wearing masks. But you get it. Like, you know, Friday the 13th, don't be out doing peyote in the middle of the Texas desert. I don't know, whatever happens in horror movies. So I hope you all have a great day. Watch lots of movies, enjoy yourself, have a great weekend, and I will see you next time. Bye, everyone.